Hello there, my name is Ben Chapman and welcome to episode 10 of my Forbidden Door Total Extreme Wrestling save, where we take Impact Wrestling, AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling under one booking tree. Today we have got our first pay-per-view of the series, and it's Impact's Bound for Glory 2021. We've actually got a double load of pay-per-views actually, as tomorrow we go straight into New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax, which should also be really fun. But we start off, of course, with Impact, and we've got a good stage. We're going to be doing it in the Impact Zone, of course, because that's our home base now for Impact. And we've got 1,291 fans expected for Bound for Glory, which is main evented by Karl Anderson versus Christian Cage for the Impact World Championship. So let's get into it. And so we kick off Bound for Glory with the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the Desi Hit Squad, and the reuniting of the Motor City Machine Guns, and they do well together, and they actually pick up the victory when Alex Shelley pins Shira with the WA4. Shira being the weak link in the match, only of 24, compared to Shelley and Sabin being in the mid-50s and Rohit Raju in the low 40s. So, you know, they're alright. There's a lot of few people I'm thinking might bring into Impact because they don't fit either of my other products, but they would fit an Impact product. You know, maybe a couple of people who could. Maybe a few Singh brothers could work well with these two. Gets a 49 rating though overall, which is pretty good. Second match on the card is just a hoss fight, as Brian Cage takes on Doc Gallows. It just goes 6 minutes of just them beating each other, just full on wild brawl, like genuinely wild brawl. And Brian Cage picks up the win with Weapon X, gets a 51 rating, not too bad. We then get Prince Pretty defeating Steve Macklin in 15 minutes 56 with the Implant DDT. Gives Prince Pretty a good win. Obviously, he's probably going to be leading to a digital media program with whoever's holding that title at the end of today. But that should be quite interesting to see. I look forward to that. 45 rating. And then we finally get the tournament final of the X Division Championship, as Samurai Del Sol defeats Christopher Daniels in 1846 with the Rising Sun, and Del Sol is the new X Division Champion. Part of the tournament, ends the tournament, gets a 50 rating. Great stuff, I'm happy with that. Knockouts title on the line, as Deonna Purrazzo defeats Mickie James in 1939 with her Fujiwara armbar, after, unfortunately, James suffered chronic upper back pain, so this feud isn't over because that's an injury, and that will come back to play in later in Fed, especially considering they have pretty good chemistry together. Purrazzo makes her 14th defense of the Knockouts title, gets 47 overall. Then we get a debut for the Digital Media Championship. Someone who was picking up a bit of steam online in Japan. So we brought him in for the Digital Media title. That makes sense. We're using digital media to promote it. Suriaki Shobo. He recently debuted for the after being trained by the Dragon Gate Dojo. So we brought him into Impact to be part of, just on a sort of one-off thing, as part of this digital media program. I thought it was a good idea. You know, he only got a 15. But I want this digital media title to feel digital media. So if new people come up who start making headlines, I'll bring them in for the digital media title division, because that makes sense. Cardona obviously picks up the win, gets a 36 rating. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team title was on the line, as Rosemary and Havoc defeat Chelsea Green and Jordan Grace in 1636, when Rosemary pins Grace with the upside down. However, these two might have a rematch on Impact, which might change the result, because I didn't realise Rosemary and Havoc don't work as a team. Gets a 41 rating. Love that. We get a quick match between Bandito and Bobby Fish, two people who debuted quite recently. Let's give them a chance. Bobby Fish to show off his technical prowess and Bandito to show off his high-flying ability. And it is Bandito who picks up the win, pinning Bobby Fish with the Revolution Fly, which is, of course, the Moonsault Fallaway Slam. Gets a 52 rating. Great stuff. Those two actually did pretty good stuff. I was actually quite impressed with that. And then our semi-main event, as Bullet Club versus Taguchi Japan, goes on as we get Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, Jay White and Chris Bay defeating Taguchi, Storm and Finjuice in 24:57 when Chris Bay pinned Taguchi with the art of finesse. Taguchi is not really over in America, so it makes sense that he's going to be the one pinned. But this can also play into later some work in New Japan, which you might see in tomorrow's episode. And the actual main event match sees Karl Anderson defeat Christian Cage with the Anderson Spinebuster to win the Impact World title. Karl Anderson is your world champion in Impact. Gets a 63 overall, 67 for Cage, 57 for Anderson. It's nice to see Karl Anderson getting a bit of singles success, which he hasn't really had. He's now a double champion though, because he also holds the tag title still with Gallows. Just 63, not so bad. What do we get overall though? We get a 62, which increases our popularity in 54 regions. And we didn't even have to make any major debuts. Suriaki Shobo was the only person who debuted on this show, which is actually pretty shocking, because Bound for Glory is usually when Impact do most of their big debuts. But I'll take it. So, I've been Ben Chapman. If you like this, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you for the G1 Climax tomorrow. Bye!